apologies, you know, pag tumatawag itong aking anak, I should really answer. Alam ng pioneer yan. Even on-site, ganun ako guys. Why? Because he would say, that is your problem, mommy. Since birth, since birth niya, you are always busy. You are always with your students, mommy. You see, it's already pandemic. Why is it you're still having your classes, mom? You should be resting. You should be watching Netflix, enjoying your life. Still, you are working. It's already late. Ganyan yan guys. Madrama yan. You're always with your students. You're not answering my call. Ano lagi ang reply ko? Well, physically, I may be with my students, but my heart is always with you. Interlab quality control. Mom, ano po si diba? So, winner si mommy, but my heart is always with you. Sabi niya kasi, mom, you're always with your students, mom. You're always with them. Physically, yeah, but emotionally, I'm always with you. So what is external quality control? Guys, this is a proficiency testing program. Oops! Yung isa, daily monitoring. Ito, proficiency testing program, which provides, oh my goodness gracious, what is that quality control with unknown samples? My goodness, what is our answer? Interlab quality control. What is our next answer? External quality control. What is our third answer? Proficiency testing program. There are unknown samples given to participating laboratories. So alam ko tatanungin mo ako, ma'am, sa internal quality control, walang unknown sample? Wala. Dito lang ang may unknown sample. Unknown samples with S. And remember that the College of American Pathologists Proficiency Program is the gold standard for clinical laboratory external QC testing. And what is the purpose of external quality control? Internal QC, daily monitoring of accuracy and precision. Internal QC should be performed every time you process patient sample. We are not allowed to release any patient test result from chemistry, guys, without performing internal quality control. In external QC, this is long-term monitoring. Long-term monitoring of accuracy of what? The analytical methods. So ano ang similarity nilang dalawa? Internal and external QC, both monitor what? Analytical methods. The only difference, yung isa daily, yung ito long-term. Yung isa daily, everyday, and to have a valid result, at least 1 week to have a valid result. Ito, long-term. Ma'am, long-term meaning more than 1 week? Yes. Let us begin. Unang tanong, ilang unknown samples ang dapat mong ibigay sa clinical chemistry section, especially if that clinical chemistry section will participate in external quality control? Ma'am, bakit mo in-emphasize yung external? Because nakalagay dito guys, di ba? It is a proficiency testing program. Ibig sabihin, the unknown samples, take note, are coming from a reference laboratory. The unknown samples came from a reference laboratory, external laboratory, not part of the hospital. External quality control provides external unknown samples coming from a reference laboratory. Here in the Philippines, the reference laboratory, guys, kung saan mo makukuha yung mga unknown samples na yan for external quality control testing in clinical chemistry came from Lung Center of the Philippines. The Lung Center of the Philippines is a recognized reference laboratory for clinical chemistry testing. Do not forget that. How many unknown samples should be given to the clinical chemistry section? 12 unknown samples. Do not forget, 12 unknown samples. Excellent, Grisel, April, Manuway, 12 unknown samples. Next question. Ma'am, anong tawag po, what is the type of quality control in clinical chemistry where unknown samples should be provided? External quality control. Anong other name? Interlab quality control. Ano pang other name? Proficiency testing program. Ma'am, saan galing yung unknown samples na yan? Reference laboratory. Next question. Ma'am, how many unknown samples for clinical chemistry section? 12. Ma'am, why 12? Because every month, one unknown sample should be processed. Let me say it again. Because every month, one unknown sample should be processed. Next question. You mean, ma'am, 12 samples because of the 12 months in a year? Check. Next question. Ma'am, what if the sample for the month of June, which is tomorrow, they could not locate? Oh my God. Ma'am, hindi nila mahanap yung sample for June 2022. Eh, ang running day po, every first of every month. Ma'am, can we use the May 2022 sample? Naubos na yun. Ma'am, can we borrow the sample for July 2022? We should inform the reference laboratory that we don't have the 6th sample. So they should provide the 6th sample. Kasi guys, naka-label lahat yun. Meron lahat yung serial number. So every month, one new sample. One new unknown sample coming from the reference laboratory. Check. Next question. Ma'am, ilang days ipaprocess yung unknown sample? For external quality control testing, only 1 day. Every month, only 1 day. Next question. Ma'am, when do we process it? Is it every first day of every month? Every 15th? Every 30th? Kailan po namin dapat i-process yung unknown sample? Depende sa laboratory. But the rule, you have to process it and you have to release it on or before the deadline. So therefore, if the deadline is every 15th, so you have to process it before the 15th. And the processing should be consistent. If let's say January 2022, you process the unknown sample January 2, so it should be every second of every month. It should be every second of every month. Mom, are you telling the external quality control testing should follow 30-day calendar testing? Check. Consistent 30-day calendar testing once a month. Do not forget that. Once a month, 30-day calendar testing, only one sample every month. How many unknown samples should be provided to each hospital with a clinical chemistry section? 12. Why 12? Representing each calendar month. Take note. And, ma'am, what is the manner of measurement of these unknown samples? It should follow the 30-day calendar testing. When you say 30-day calendar testing, it's every month and the gap 30 days. Okay. What else? Mom, how many unknown samples should be processed every month? One unknown sample. And every month, it's a different unknown sample. Because you cannot use the sample that was utilized May 2022 every month, iba-ibang sample yung children. What else? Ops, may question ka pa. Alam ko itatanong mo yan. Ma'am, sabi mo po, it should be released on or before the deadline and it should be consistent. Andaan mo guys, consistency ha. Kung every second, up to December, every second. Next question, alam ko itatanong mo to. Ma'am, when is the best time to process it? Morning, afternoon, nighttime, anytime. Usually the processing of the unknown sample is every morning. Together with the bulk patient samples. Every morning, together with the bulk Ma'am, how many testings should be made? With clinical chemistry section, ma'am. And in our clinical lab, there are around 50, total number of 50 chemistry tests. Ma'am, are we going to process those 50 chemistry tests? What is the answer? We only process the routine chemistry tests. We only process the routine chemistry tests. Guys, using unknown samples, only the routine chemistry test. Next question. Ma'am, how would you define routine chemistry test? Alam ko yun ang mga tanong nyo guys kasi yan din ang itatanong sa board exam. Ma'am, how would you define routine chemistry test? Always remember that a routine test in clinical chemistry is defined as having 20 or more test requests in 24 hours. It is considered routine test in clinical chemistry if it has 20 or more test requests in 24 hours. Alam mo, Miss Valerie, sino ba yung nagsabi sa akin may pad? Hindi ko na matiis kasi super irritated talaga. Huwag kayong magtatawa sa akin, ha? I really have to put this like this. Huwag niyo akong pipicturean, guys. Mawawalan ako ng integridad. Please do not take photo. Kasi mai-irritate. Ang sakit na eh. Hindi, pag wala kasi akong glasses, hindi ko nakikita if there are cutie. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Promise I'll buy na. Okay. Ayan. I have to put like that, guys. Do not take photos, please. So going back, ito na. Ma'am, di mo pa nasasagot yung tanong. There are 50 total tests in our hospital, ma'am. Oh, you will not perform those 50. Only the routine tests. And what do you mean by routine chemistry test? It can generate 20 test requests or more in 24 hours. Ibig mong sabihin, ma'am, kapag ang isang test may request na 25 average tests a day or 20 average test requests a day, ang tawag sa kanya routine. Tama. Yun lang ang part ng testing mo sa external QC. That unknown samples will only test routine tests in your laboratory. And what are the common routine tests? Glucose, cholesterol, triglyceride, uric acid, blood urea nitrogen, and creatinine. Again, what are the common routine tests in clinical chemistry? Glucose, cholesterol, triglyceride, uric acid, blood urea nitrogen, and creatinine. There are 6 universal routine tests. Pag nag-practice ka na, mapaalala mo ito lecture to, wala yung sinabi ni Madam. Routine test lang talaga. Take note of that. Alam ko tatanong mo ito, sasagutin ko na rin. Ma'am, in our family-owned clinical laboratory, ma'am, there is a packaged chemistry test. Pag meron pong cholesterol, ma'am, meron din pong triglyceride. Meron din pong LDL. Meron din pong HDL. Ibig pong sabihin, ma'am, sa laboratory po namin, kasi meron po kami packaged chemistry test, kasama po sa laboratory namin, ma'am, ang LDL and HDL as routine tests. What is the answer? Check. That's why do not forget that, children, in the licensure examination, a routine test in chemistry is defined as what? Having 20 or more test requests in 24 hours. Guys, are you learning? Did you learn something new? Anong color ng control samples? The usual color of control samples? Yellow. The color of standard sample, regardless of the test, colorless. What are the known samples in clinical chemistry? My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. What are the known samples in clinical chemistry? Makita mo lang yan sa exam. This known sample. Naku, pipikit ka agad. Sabi mo, dalawa lang yan. What are the known samples? The standard and the control samples. How many control samples do we have in clinical chemistry, children? How many control samples? Remember, there are 2 control samples. We have the normal and we have the abnormal. And what is the other name for abnormal control? Anong other name ng abnormal control sample? We call them pathologic. Oh, what are the two sources of control samples? What are the two sources of control samples? Kaya pala ganun ang itsura ng control. The human and the bovine control samples. And because of biohazard considerations na napatunayan mo lalo ngayong pandemic yung binabasa mo kay Bishop, because of biohazard considerations, which is commonly used, the bovine or the human-based control, bovine is usually requested. Do not forget that, people. Oops! How many unknown samples should be provided to each hospital with clinical chemistry section if they would like to participate in a proficiency testing program? How many unknown samples in external quality control test? 12. How about in internal quality control test? Do we have unknown samples? In internal quality control testing, do we have unknown samples? What is the answer? None. Because in internal QC tests, we use known samples, the standard and the control. True or false? In external quality control testing, we also use known samples. In external quality control testing, in monitoring and in maintaining long-term accuracy of the analytical methods, we also use known samples. I am referring to the standard in the control samples. Are we using it, children? What is the answer? Yes. Both the internal QC and the external QC, we use known samples. I am referring to the standard and the control samples. However, only external quality control tests use external samples. And how many external samples are delivered to the hospital if that hospital will participate to inter-lab quality control testing? How many external samples should be delivered to that hospital? What is the answer again? 12 external samples. And what is the other name for external sample? Unknown sample. Do not forget that. And when you say routine test in chemistry, how many test requests should be generated for that chemistry test, guys, to be considered routine? How many test requests in 24 hours? Ilan dapat test requests ang nakukuha niya? 20 or more. Excellent. Do not forget that everybody who answered all the questions, ang dami, direct message siya. At least 20. Take note, very excellent, Miss Pompa Naomi. At least 20. Do not forget that. What else? And what is the primary role of external QC? Compare. Oh my God. Guys, pag may color yan, green, red, may underline, what is the purpose of what is the primary goal or primary role of external quality control? To compare performance between laboratories. Ma'am, bakit may ganyan? O, children, eto na. Tatanungin mo sa akin, sasagutin ko din. Ma'am, sabi mo sa amin, there are 12 unknown samples. Check. Ma'am, sabi mo sa amin, only the routine tests will be performed. Check. Ma'am, when do we release the results? Kailan po namin i-release yung result, ma'am? At kanino namin i-release? The results should be released to the reference laboratory. What is the reference lab for clinical chemistry in the Philippines? Lung Center of the Philippines. Question, when do you release the result? Every month. Take note of that, every month. Ma'am, ano po i-release namin? Number 1, there is a form for external quality control testing. There is a form and you have to fill that, you have to accomplish that form. Accomplish the form, and then you have to include the name of the hospital, the name of the pathologist of the lab, the medical technologists who perform the QC test. You have to include. the name of the medical technologies to perform the QC test, and the ops, take note, the name and brand of the machine that you use for the test, the name and brand of the reagent that you use for the external QC testing, the name and brand of the machine or the chemistry analyzer, the name and brand of the reagent that you use for the test. You even include the serial number. No? Minsan sinasama pa guys, pati serial number ng machine, pati reagent. And of course, what is the last? The result of the testing. Halimbawa, yung 6 yung mineasure mo, glucose, choline, triglycerides, urea, no? Yun ang mga routine test sa lab mo. You include the result of the test. Take note, unknown sample is your sample for external QC testing. And the result of that unknown sample testing should be released. Next question. Ma'am, kaya pala sinabi mo dito to compare performance between laboratories. Ibig sabihin, those hospitals who are using the same machine, the same brand of the reagent, they should have the same result. Or at least result should be what? Reproducible. What do you mean by reproducible? Close to each other. What is the answer? Yes. Because what is the purpose of the external quality control testing or interlab between laboratories, interlab, to compare the results of those laboratories using the same equipment and reagents? To compare the results of those laboratories using the same equipment and reagents. They should have the same results because pare-pareho sila ng analytical methods. So, page 3, ano nakalagay dyan? Conduct of external QC test. Ang tanong, ma'am, yung po bang machine that we use for processing patient samples should be the same machine or analyzer that we should use for processing unknown samples? Next, ma'am, how about the medical technologies? Is it the medical technologists who actually perform the testing in chemistry that should be by the laboratorians, meaning those who are working in clinical chemistry section, who regularly perform analysis of patient sample ops using the hindi similar, same reagents and equipment for patient samples. Ibig sabihin, kung ano daw yung reagent at machine na ginagamit mo for patient sample, same for unknown sample. Walang pinag-iba. In fact, the unknown sample should be treated, should be processed like patient human sample. Take note of that. That is also found on page 3. Take note because that will determine the true essence of accuracy. Kasi ano ba ang purpose ng external QC? To determine the accuracy of the methods. What else? And ops, guys, take a photo please. Kuhanan nyo ito ng picture kasi wala to sa book. Mamaya ka na kumuha ng picture, guys, ha? I'll give instruction later. Una, baka tanungin to sa'yo sa board exam, ha? 2022 na tayo, bago ang Board of Examiner. Oh. Samples for external quality control. Ayan, nabawasan na yung pain. Ang sakit na guys, kanina na-irritate talaga. I'll buy those pads. Samples for external quality control or proficiency testing. Take note, very clear ang sinabi ko, proficiency testing. Baka itanong sa'yo sa exam, what is a commutable sample? Ang preferred sample natin dito, commutable with patient samples. What do you mean by commutable? Pooling of, in-explain ko saying pooling kanina, pooled sample. Pooling of clinical samples such as serum is commonly utilized to prepare commutable samples. That is a preferred sample in external quality control testing, commutable. And commutable samples should contain minimal additives to at least maintain the original state of the bioanalytes. Do not forget that. Take note of that, people. That is so important. What else? Ops, para hindi ka malilito sa board exam. Ma'am, bakit may nababasa po ako mga sample questions nakalagay reference materials? O, wag ka malilito, guys, ha? Pag sinabi mo reference material in clinical chemistry, there are two descriptions: calibrators or control samples. Calibrators, standard sample yon. Control samples yon. In short, reference materials are either the calibrators or the control sample. So, halimbawa, tanungin ka sa board exam, this reference material, naku, mag-iisip ka. Sabi ni ma'am, dalawa ang reference material. May isang calibrator at saka may isang control sample. Oops, do not forget. Next, ma'am, how would I know that the question is about the control sample? Nako, several analytes. Pangalawa, it resembles the human serum. It resembles the human sample. Take note. Paano ko malalaman ang question tungkol kay calibrator? Calibrator is the standard sample. Anong sasabihin sa'yo? It only contains one analyte. It is the most specific known sample. So dalawa po ang ibig sabihin, ma'am, ng reference material. It's either the control or the standard sample. A standard sample is also known as calibrator. Binibigay ko na to sa'yo para hindi ka na malilito sa board exam. Ano nakalagay dyan? Would be considered commutable when? Ops, pag tinanong ka sa exam, ha, which of the following is a correct statement regarding commutable control sample? Commutable standard sample, commutable calibrator, commutable reference material. Ano pong ibig sabihin ng commutable sample? It would be considered commutable when a measurement procedure produces, hindi ko pwedeng mabago yan, talagang yan kasi ang nakalagay sa statement, produces the same result. Hindi similar, guys, ha, same exact result for a reference material as it does for an authentic patient sample. Ibig sabihin, a commutable reference material produce same exact concentration. Yung patient serum, 100 mg per deciliter. Yung commutable reference material, 100 mg per deciliter. Eksakto. Ito ibig sabihin ng commutable reference material. It has the same exact concentration as the analyte sample, meaning the patient sample. Take a photo, please, guys. Children, walang magpo-post dito sa social media. Alam naman na ninyo yan. I'm always saying that the properties of the faculty reviewers of Pioneer Educational Review Center, guys, these are made by the faculty members. No? You are not allowed, or you are not given permission to post this in any social media platforms. Okay, that is a reminder to everyone. This is for you. This is not for the consumption of everyone. Okay, what else? Take a photo, please. What else then? Frequently, kukuha ka rin ng photo later, para makuha mo lahat. Quality, syempre tatanungin mo yan, ma'am, yung ginagamit nating control samples sa clinical chemistry, ma'am, are they commutable samples or are they non-commutable samples? Napaka-importanting question yan, guys. They are mostly non-commutable reference materials. Do not ever forget that. The control samples in clinical chemistry are mostly what? Non-commutable. Children, control sample is same with quality control sample, same with quality control material. Isa lang pong ibig sabihin, no? Okay? Non-commutable. Commutable means, take a photo please, same numeric relationship. Ibig sabihin, 100 ang human sample, 100 din siya. Commutable sample, yon. Anong ibig sabihin naman ng non-commutable? Exactly. Pag sinabi ng non-commutable, it means the value of the control sample not exactly same with the human sample, not exactly same. 100 ang human sample, 95 ang control sample. Non-commutable. Ang tawag doon, non-commutable. Bakit? Medyo malapit pero hindi eksakto. Ay, kaya pala sinasabi mo, ma'am, na most of the control samples, the values are what? Non-commutable. Not exactly the same with the human sample. Do not forget that. Take a photo, please. It came from CDC. Okay, take note. What else? Interpretation of the results of the proficiency testing, page 3. Nasa book mo yan, guys. I don't need to emphasize this much. Basta ang tatandaan lang natin, the purpose of the external QC is to compare results coming from different laboratories. How can you compare it? These are different laboratories because they have to include the brand and name of the machines, the brand and name of the reagents. So those using the same reagents, having the same serial number, they should bear the same, they should have the same or near results. Same. And katulad din ng reagents, para ng reagents, iba-ibang results, ay, questionable market. Questionable yung guys, okay? What else? Differences of greater than 2SD in the results, it means not in agreement with other laboratories. It's also in your book, guys. Difference of greater than 2SD after computation, the results of the proficiency testing, it means what? Not in agreement, your laboratory, not in agreement with the other laboratories using the same equipment and reagents. May problem ang laboratory. Okay? What else? And how about rationale? Alam ko tatanong mo yan. Ma'am, bakit pa kailangan may proficiency testing? Ang toxic naman. Remember sa board exam, the proficiency testing in clinical chemistry is every month, not once a year. Every month. Take note. And what is the goal of the proficiency testing? The ultimate purpose, to ensure our clinicians that patient results are truly accurate. Why? Because in external QC, we receive 12 unknown samples coming from an external laboratory. It came from outside. And the results, take note of the external QC test, results are so near the target values, talagang magaling ang laboratory. So therefore, we can say this to our clinicians that we don't only pass the internal QC testing, we also pass the external quality control testing. Take note. What else? And please take note of ISO 15189-2007. You can take a photo. Pre-pandemic pa lang sinabi na sa akin yan. Alam mo po, ma'am, meron ka isang tinuro sa amin na ISO na under quality control. Take note of my statement, under quality control, lumabas po sa board exam. But it was not asked in clinical chemistry. Sabi nila, the question actually falls in laboratory management. Ano daw yung, ko anong question yon? What is that ISO guideline that says that, nakalagay dyan, laboratory practices must be with reliability because the laboratory is involved in absolute patient care. Oh, that is ISO 15189-2007. Take note. Take note of that. It has been adopted by CAP in an effort to improve patient care through quality laboratory practices. Do not forget that through quality laboratory practices, that is ISO 15189-2007. Memorize mo lang yan. Improve patient care through quality laboratory practices. That is part of the external quality control. So therefore, what are the objectives of internal quality control and external quality control? Pagsamahin na natin sila dalawa. Naku, kanina ko pa sinasabi, internal quality control, including external quality control. Check the stability of the machine by using control samples. Check the quality of the reagents by using control samples again. To check technical errors by using again what? Control samples. However, there is one quality control type that use what? External samples to check the machine, to check the reagents, and also to check technical errors. That efficiency testing because it involves the person. You have to include the name of the medical technologist who perform the external QC testing in chemistry. Kaya tinatawag mo rin siyang proficiency testing. It involves the person. Okay? What else? Ito guys, example lang ito. Halimbawa, bigyan ka ng case ha. Naku, expect mo na may mga cases tayo sa board exam this August 2022. Noon pa yan, baka medyo madami ngayon. Okay? Ito guys, example lang ha. For example, you own or there is a secondary clinical laboratory. When you say secondary clinical laboratory, it means it is authorized to receive test requests for routine chemistry tests. Glucose, choline, trigly, uric, creatinine, no? Pwede, BUN, pwede siya mag-accept nun kasi routine chemistry test lang. So in short, the first column, these are the tests. The second column, these are the assayed values after internal quality control testing. Take note, assayed values after internal quality control testing. How about the last column? These are the control target values. Dahil hindi tayo nag-face-to-face, I'm sure, makapapansin mo kasi ito sa internship. Pag sa clinical internship kasi guys, especially in chemistry, you know, the staff in clinical chemistry, before they release, before they process any patient sample, they have to check always the result of the internal quality control testing. So, anong titignan nila doon, guys? The assayed values versus the target values. There are several serum samples waiting for processing. You won't process it immediately. You have to perform internal quality control. Tandaan mo, children, sinabi ko kanina, ano bang ginagawa sa internal QC? Daily monitoring of the analytical methods. And what are the analytical methods? What are the components again? Reagents, equipment, and procedures. How will you validate the reagent, the equipment, and the procedures? Remember, you need to validate these components before you process the serum. Kasi guys, kung i-process mo yung patient serum, hindi ka pa pala sigurado if this machine, if this reagent, if this procedure, whether mechanical or automatic, are working perfectly, naubos na yung patient sample mo. Kaya make sure that before you process the patient sample, the analytical method is reliable. And how will you ensure it? You test it again. Against what? Control samples. Why control samples again? Because they resemble the human serum. At what level? The analytes present in human serum, same analytes present in control samples. Bakit sila nagkapareho? Because there are two sources, the human base and the bovine. Very important in quality control that the control samples should resemble the human sample. Do not forget that. So therefore, ma'am, ibig mo sabihin itong values na 75, 190, 3.5, hindi po patient serum ang ginamit nating sample dito, kundi control samples. Yes, this is an example of an internal quality control, normal control. Kasi sabi normal control, you are going to check the machine and the reagent if it can produce normal results. Take note of that. 75 ang na-achieve mong internal QC, normal control. Question, will you process the glucose human patient samples? Kasi ang nakuha mong internal QC result, 75 for glucose. Ang target limit, 75 plus or minus 5. What is the answer? Process it. Bakit? Naku, you achieve the exact target value. Yes, excellent, Joe and Etraso. Yes, process all the human samples waiting for glucose testing. Bakit? Kasi assured ka na yung reagent mo, yung machine mo, yung procedure mo, reliable. Bakit? Because the result of the glucose testing is what? In control. How about cholesterol? In control. How about triglyceride? Naku, mapapaisip ka. Ang nakuha mong assay value, control testing, 90. using the reagent and the equipment and the method that will be used also for patient sampling testing. Eto, nakuha mo 90. O, ano ang target control limit? 100 plus or minus 10. Guys, is it in or out of control? In control ba ang reagent at saka ang equipment? Sa triglyceride, in control ba ang triglyceride reagent? In control ba ang equipment used when triglyceride was measured? Anong answer ni Ms. Razo? Yes, in control po. Nakapasok naman po, sabi din ni Chrysel Jan Fernandez at saka ni Razo Joanette. Yes. Well, they are both correct. Excellent. Yes, correct. So therefore, in control. Kasi anong ibig sabihin, Justin Ann Amar, ng 90 plus or minus 10? 100 plus or minus 10? 90 to 110. Is it in control? Yes. However, guys, tandaan natin sa licensure exam. If after the internal quality control testing, the values achieved were the lowest limit or the highest limit, represented 90 and 110. Yes, it is in control. Yes, it is within the desired limit, but we should be very careful because it is already the lowest limit. Or if it is 110, it is already the highest limit. Ops, ma'am, how do we ensure that although we achieve the lowest and the highest limit, tama naman ang result natin, ma'am? Guys, kung nag-internship kayo, na mapapansin mo yung chemistry result form. Yung chemistry result form, may nakalagay na remarks, twice done. Yung patient test result form yon. Sa hospital yung nakalagay, remarks, twice done. Ano yung twice done? Because in chemistry, clinical chemistry section, we don't just measure the analyte once. It should be twice. We call that precision testing. So if it is 90 first testing, another 90 second testing, release it. 90 first testing, 89 ang control mo, value pangalawa. Out of control. So if it is 90, 91, release. 90 to 110, release. But if it is 89 the next testing, it means we have to repeat the testing and get another reagent or control sample. Uric acid, 3.5. Definitely out of control. Ano nang in control? 75. Ano pa? 100. Ano pa? 90. Ano lang ipaprocess natin sa lab? Cholesterol. What else? Triglyceride. What else? Glucose. What happened to uric acid because it was out of range? It is 3.5. The maximum is only 3.0. Guys, kung board exam ngayon, what is the next step that should be done? Because there is an out-of-control uric acid test. Uric acid internal quality control test. The result was out of control. Question, what is the next step that should be done? Change the machine? Naku, Diyos ko, isa lang ang machine mo sa laboratory. Change the reagent. Change the control sample. Change the standard sample or other factors other than machine, control, standard, or reagent. Other factors other than the given choices. Kung board exam mo yun, what is your answer? Meron ka daw out of control na uric acid. So out of control ng uric acid test natin, kailangan mabilis tayo mag-isip. Hindi tayo pwedeng mabagal children because patients are waiting, doctors are waiting for the result. So what is the next step that should be done? But because we have an out of control uric acid internal QC test. You change the machine, change the reagent, change the control, change the standard, or other factors other than the given reagent. Tanong, may problema po ba ang machine? Tandaan mo guys ha, 4 ang iyong test runs. Glucose, choline, triglyceride, 4. Isa lang ang nag-out of control. You use the same machine that you use for uric acid that is also used for glucose, for choline, for triglyceride. Ang machine ba ang may problem? Yung chemistry analyzer ba ang may problem? No. Is it the control sample? Oh, guys, there are 4 tests. Glucose, choline, triglyceride. How many control sample vials should be used? How many normal control vials should be used, guys, if you have 4 tests? How many normal control vial? Isa. Ma'am, bakit isa lang apat ang tests? Because a control sample contains several analytes. Check. Ibig mo sabihin, ma'am, hindi po si control sample lang may problem. Ah, hindi. Because remember, this is internal quality control test. You need to check the machine, the reagent, and the procedure before you run the patient samples, before you process all the patient samples. I-check mo muna kung yung machine mo, reagent mo, tsaka procedure mo, reliable. Hindi pwede mag-run ka na hindi mo binavalidate yung mga analytical methods. Take note of that. So, ang tanong, ma'am, si control sample ba yung problem? Why? Because otherwise, lahat yan out of controls. Out. Hindi machine, hindi control. Ma'am, si standard sample ba? Baka yung standard, ma'am, for uric acid reagent already expired, already not working, or contaminated. Is it the standard sample? Or is it the uric acid reagent? That is a question. Is it the standard sample or is it the uric acid reagent? Should be replaced because that is the cause of the out of control. Uric acid reagent or the standard sample? What is our answer? Kung board exam ngayon, guys, ano ang cause ng out of control? The uric acid reagent or the standard sample? What is the answer, children? The reagent. Kaizel John Fernandez, that is excellent. Also, Francis May Togores and Judith Bautista, excellent. And everybody who answered uric acid reagent. Do not forget that probably contaminated, probably near expiration date, or already expired. So, one test out of the several tests was out of control. Oh, we have to check the reagent first, especially if you use the same machine, you use the same control sample, then we have to check the reagent. Huwag kalilimutan, check the reagent. What else? And how about control solutions? Page 4, please. Well, kasasabi lang natin, the purpose of the control samples to check accuracy and precision. Okay? The purpose of the control, palaki na palaki yung tissue, guys, okay? The purpose of the, kanina maliit. The purpose of the control samples to check accuracy and precision of an assay. Sinabi ko na rin sa iyo kanina, Ma'am, why do we need to remember the components? Because remember that control sample is the known sample that resembles the human serum. Or the human sample, not just serum, the human sample. Take note. It should be stable. How do we maintain the stability of control samples? Make sure that it should be kept in the appropriate temperature. Okay? If it is a freezing temperature, store it freezing. Refrigerated temperature, store it refrigerated. Take note. And general chemistry assays usually use 2 levels of control, the normal and the pathologic. While immunoassays use 3 levels of control, high control, low control, normal control. Sa immunoassays yun. But in general chem, 2 levels, the normal and pathologic. What else? Also, page 4, it says there, to establish a statistical quality control on a new instrument or new reagent. Napakagandang tanong nito, guys. May bago daw dumating na reagent sa laboratory mo, new brand of reagent, new machine, new instrument. Question. Gagamitin mo ba agad yun sa pasyente? Patient sample? Will you use that new reagent that was just delivered or the new instrument that was just delivered? You will use it agad-agad? No. Excellent. No. Galing talaga ng mga Filipino medical technology students. Of course, not chocolate. Ang tanong, Ma'am, anong gagawin natin sa bagong reagent at new bagong machine or instrument? You have to challenge the new reagent or new machine. Challenge it against control sample. Ma'am, bakit si control sample, hindi si standard sample? Eh, most specific si standard sample. Oh, every time you challenge reagent or machine or spectrophotometer or a procedure, old or new procedure, you have to use a sample that resembles the human sample. And what is that sample that resembles a human sample? That is the known sample, control sample. Ma'am, bakit pareho na naman siya ng human sample? Kasi po dalawa ang sources ng control. Ano yung isa? Human-based, hindi naman katakataka. Ano yung pangalawa? Bovine-based. But though that is bovine-based, sabi ko nga, though that is animal source, the biochemical analytes present in this bovine-based, same in human-based sample. Take note, you are going to challenge that new reagent, that new instrument, with different levels of control. Ilang levels ulit ang control natin sa chemistry? Dalawa. Ano po ulit yun? Normal control. Ano yung pangalawa? Pathological control. Next question. Ma'am, ibig mo sabihin po, ang gagamitin naming sample when challenging the new reagent and new instrument? The control samples. Dalawa. Correct. What else? Ma'am, how many days po we should challenge the new instrument and reagent before we can use it to patient? At least, nakalagay dyan, 20 consecutive days. Consecutive, ha? Ma'am, nag-brown out on the 19th day. Oh my God. You have to repeat it day 1. Kaya po ang mga hospitals, merong mga generators because that is important in maintaining consistency of testing. Take note. Must be analyzed for 20 consecutive days. Oops! Meron pa ako isang sasabihin. So, ilan ang samples? Dalawa. Isang column, normal control. Pangalawang column, abnormal control. Ilang days? 20 consecutive days. How many tests run every day? Twice. Twice normal control test run, twice pathologic control test run. So every day, each sample must be tested. Every day, each sample should be used in challenging the new reagent and the new instrument. And it should be duplicate testing. Bakit na naman duplicate testing? Pinaliwanag ko na kanina. Kung ikaw ay nakapag-actual clinical internship, makikita, tanungin mo yung parents mo kung nagpa-chemistry test sila. Makikita mo yung result form ng clinical chemistry section, patient result form. Anong nakalagay na remarks? Twice done. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng tests na naka-enumerate sa patient request form, 2 beses measure. Pati pala si control sample, ma'am, duplicate testing din po. Correct. Every day for 20 consecutive days. And only after 20 consecutive days, you can actually say, this is a valid instrument and reagent. What else? Ma'am, anong klaseng control material po ang dapat namin gamitin? What kind of control sample should be purchased? Oh my God. First, paulit-ulit na ako guys sa page 4. Ma'am, bakit paulit-ulit ka? Para hindi mo siya makalimutan. It should resemble human sample. Oops, this is review for the board exam. This is clinical chemistry. Pag sinabi nating number 1, that is the most important characteristic. So if you notice, kung mag-flashback ka, ay oo nga. Kaya pala nung college ako, ma'am, yung clinical chemistry exam namin or quiz, mahilig sa most important factor. Correct. Most commonly used sample. Correct. Most important characteristic. Correct. So pag tinanong ko sa exam this August, what is the most important characteristic of a control sample? It should resemble human sample. That is the first. Hindi pwedeng burahin yan. Pangalawa, it should be stable for long periods. Stability means either you store it inside the freezer or you store it refrigerated temperature. We have to follow the manufacturer's instructions. Inexpensive. Ay, nasabi ko na yan. Non-infectious, guys. No communicable diseases. Hindi ko na kailangan pahabaan yan. Nag-pandemic na tayo, ha? O, alam ko, tatanungin niyo ulit ako, ma'am, yan po bang no communicable diseases na yan, ma'am? Ngayon lang pinauso yan kasi pandemic. Kumuha kayo ng 2008 edition ng book. Nandun na yan, no communicable diseases. Matagal na yan guys, 1970s pa, 60s. No communicable diseases. Take note. Kaya pala ma'am, sinabi mo, we cannot add infectious sample into that pooled serum, correct? Ay, syempre, with known analyte concentration, how can we say it is in or out of control if it is without values? It should be with known analyte concentration. Those are the top 4 characteristics of an ideal quality control material or control sample. Next, ops, eto guys wala ito sa book mo, you're going to copy this Actually, additional readings mo to kasi nga you came from pandemic Marami kayo mga kaguluhan nung nag-a-attend kayo ng online class. Malamang, ngayon mo marirealize, importante pala yung sinabi ng teacher ko nung college. Anong sabi niya sa'yo? I-remind lang kita, review to review. Nasabi na to, inuulit lang. What is AACC? American Association for Clinical Chemistry. Ma'am, bakit kasali yan? No. Hindi ko ilalagay dito kung hindi importante. Promise. Take note. Quality control materials act as surrogates. Hindi ba sinabi yan ni Bishop? Na kay Bishop yan. Ma'am, ibig sabihin na kay Bishop sinabi ng American Association for Clinical Chem. Check. Matagal ko nang napatunayan yung children na yung mga ina-attendan kong seminars and webinars sa AACC, nasa libro. Pagtingin ko sa book, ay, ito yung ina-attendan ko 5 years ago. Dito ko nag-attend 3 years ago. Kaya nakalagay ka, Bishop, that control samples act as surrogates for clinical samples. Do not forget that. What else? They are measured in laboratories on a daily basis. Children, what is the type of quality control wherein the control samples should be measured in a daily basis to check quality of the reagents and to check technical errors? Sino yung daily monitoring of accuracy and precision? Internal QC. Francis May Togores, excellent. Mommy, di ba si external quality control also use control samples? Yes. Hindi mo ba siya daily monitoring? Tandaan mo, children, yung unknown samples mo ang bida sa external quality control. And unknown samples are not measured every day, children. They are measured once a month. Kaya pala ma'am sa external QC, hindi daily basis. Because the external samples are measured once a month. That's why it's long term. Versus the internal QC, daily. Control samples should be measured same manner as patient samples. External 12 unknown samples should be measured every month, same manner as patient samples, using the same equipment, reagents, and procedures used for patient samples. Pareho lang. Ma'am, hindi pwede mag-iba. Kung hindi mo, magkaiba, useless yung quality control testing natin. It can be liquid or lyophilized, usually packaged in bottles, and they can be obtained from the same manufacturers of equipment. Take a photo, please, guys. Actually, additional readings mo to Tandaan mo, guys. Bakit mo inuulit-ulit sa amin yan? Kasi wala kang actual clinical internship. Tandaan po natin yan. Walang actual clinical internship, guys. Hindi pala. Natanong ko na pala to. Kasi yung phone ko, nakakabit dito sa laptop ko, children. So, hindi nyo nakikita, ito confirmation lang. Hindi nyo nakikita nagpa-pop out na messages dito sa aking laptop. Wala kayo nakikita, guys? Meron po or wala? Paki-acknowledge nga po. Wala kayo nakikita pop? Wala po, salamat. Thank you so much, children. Kasi, baka sabi ko, nakita nila. Okay. Thank you for the blessings. Okay. Thank you. Kasi magka-connect, guys, tong phone ko, iPad, at saka laptop. Going back, take a photo, guys. May nakita ka dyan. Ma'am, ano yung third-party vendors? Relax. Huwag kang maglalala, sasabihin ko sa iyo lahat yan. Huwag mo kalimutan. Yung mga control materials, liquid or lyophilized. What is the other term for lyophilized? Lyophilized sample. Naku, Diyos ko, Lord. Hindi ako magtataka may lyophilized kang question sa board exam mo yan. Excellent Gabriel Anacta, powdered. Tandaan natin guys may powdered sample na matagal na po children. Kaya ang control mo, pwedeng liquid, pwedeng powdered. Mamang standard. Standard sample is almost always liquid. Ang standard sample talaga almost always liquid yan. Pero ang control, sometimes liquid, sometimes lyophilized. And lyophilized should be reconstituted using the desired diluent. Huwag kalilimutan. Umamanong third party. Take a photo again. For third party, not suitable to verify calibration traceability. So ibig mong sabihin mo, ang ginagamit talaga namin, si normal. Kasi pathology control. Tama. Kasi this is not good for calibration traceability. Ano pa? Not validated for commutability. Ibig sabihin, we don't know if this particular quality control sample or quality control material has the exact value when you measure this third-party quality control sample. Hindi natin alam if it will have the exact value. Same with commutable sample. Pag sabing commutable, tandaan mo children commutable, same numerical relationship. Kung yung commutable control sample mo, ang glucose 100 mg per deciliter, naku, kumuha ka ng patient sample, 100 mg din. Oh my God, talaga. But the commutable control sample is not the commonly used sample in clinical chem. Ano ang commonly used control sample? Non-commutable. Ibig sabihin non-commutable, not always exact. Tingnan mo yung example ko kanina. 100 plus or minus 10. Ay, oo nga. Non-commutable control yun. Kasi po sabi mong commutable, 100 lang, wala nang range. Ay, oo. Huwag mong Guys, nagkakaintindihan ba tayo dito? Ako lang nag-e-enjoy. Did you learn something new? Commutable sample versus the non-commutable sample. Huwag mong kakalimutan, guys, ang commutable, exact number, exact value. Ang non-commutable, with differences. Kaya ang ginagamit natin sa chemistry most of the time na control samples, non-commutable. But what is the preferred and the ideal? Commutable sample. Commutable control. No? Bakit hindi pwedeng gamitin? Kasi wala siyang target values. Ay, oo. Sabi mo pala, ma'am, one of the characteristics of an ideal quality control material is what? With known analyte concentration. Hindi talaga siya pwedeng gamitin, children. Pero tandaan mo how do you call those control samples? Without target values. My goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. How do we call them? Third party quality control sample. Another term, third party quality control material. Huwag kalilimutan. Take a photo, please. Third-party QC materials. That is another definition para lang ma-emphasize ang meaning ng commutability. Take a photo, guys. In fairness, may nagbigay sa akin ng eto guys, panalo to. Dati ginagamit ko yung sa Lazada na kulay violet, yung mga aromatherapy. Someone gave me Bath and Body Works aromatherapy. Stress relief. Amazing. Okay, next. Another thing. Take a photo later. Naku. Siyempre tatanungin mo yan, ma'am, in a 24-hour duty cycle, how many times, ma'am, quality control testing should be made or should be done? How many times? Is it once in a 24-hour duty in clinical chemistry, twice in a 24-hour duty, ma'am, thrice in a 24-hour duty? Naku, anong sinabi ng not just CLIA, including CDC. Anong sabi niya? For routine test, naku, sinabi ko na sa iyo ang routine test, at least 20 test requests in 24 hours to be considered routine. Ano nakalagay dito, children? For routine test, run control test at least once every 24 hours. It means before you process all the patient samples in clinical chemistry section, you should test the machine, the reagent, the procedure, challenge it against the control samples. Normal and the abnormal. Do not forget that, people. Challenge it against the control samples. Do not forget that. The normal and the abnormal. Huwag kalilimutan, at least 24 hours. But most laboratories that I know, every shifting before they process the samples that were endorsed to them. For example, ang duty hour niya 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Meron sa kanyang in-endorse na 3 serum samples. For sodium, potassium, calcium. Anong gagawin ng medtech who receive the 3 samples? Hindi niya muna ipaprocess yun. Kasi anong protocol ng laboratory? There should be quality control testing every shifting. Every 8-hour shifting. Acceptable. Mas maganda yun. Kaya nakalagay dito, at least once every 24 hours. You challenge these machines, reagents, and procedures. However, in special chemistry tests, alam ko na ang reaction mo, Ma'am, hindi naman special chemistry test nakalagay dyan sa PowerPoint slide. Blood gas measurements. Children, blood gas measurement is not routine. It is a special chemistry test. Remember that. Clinical chemistry is analysis, not memorization. Okay? 70% of clinical chem is analysis. Hindi yung eksakto mong nabasa. Hindi yung eksakto mong narinig. Ang eksaktong wordings and statements sa boards. No. It is analysis. So it says here, for routine tests, at least once every 24 hours is the internal QC. Pag sinabi mo namang special chemistry test, just like blood gas measurements, what is the rule? Run control test, yan talaga yung mandated every 8 hours. Huwag kang malilito sa board exam. Nakalagay na question. Which of the following parameters should be with internal quality control testing every 8 hours? Nakalagay doon. A, glucose. B, sodium. C, partial carbon dioxide. D, potassium. What is the answer? Partial carbon dioxide, because it is a what? Blood gas measurement. Ma'am, si sodium potassium po ba routine? Well, if that laboratory receives at least 20 test requests in 24 hours, then these 2 electrolytes are also considered what? Routine. Iisipin mo, oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Tama. Clinical chemistry is analysis. Do not forget that. Take a photo, guys. Nakalagay dyan at least 24 hours sa routine, ha? Nag-usap na tayo kung anong routine test. Next, variations, page 5, please. Mga what are variations? Analytical errors. Pagdating po sa clinical chemistry, guys, nakita mo, which of the following variations? Ano sabi mo? Analytical errors. Ma'am, ganun po ba ang board exam? They also use terms that are unfamiliar, not common. Naku, maraming ganyan. Pero, sasabihin ko sa iyo, ha, huwag tayong magagalit sa Board of Examiners. Wala po silang kasalanan. Baka sabihin niyo, Ma'am, isn't it that we have a new set of Board of Examiners? Yeah. Ma'am, we should be scared. No. We need to study. Study hard. Pray a lot. At, children, after the board exam, huwag tayong magsasabi ng mga unpleasant words, unpleasant statements and comments to our respectable, distinguished, honorable Board of Examiners. Wala po silang kasalanan doon. Kasi yung questions nila ay galing po sa textbooks natin. Kung binasa natin. Yung questions nila ay galing sa reference book, just like John Bernard Henry. Some questions may be coming from the WHO, the CDC, which we are saying. Oops, take note. Bakit galing doon? Lalo nang naging pandemic. May mga tinatawag na universal protocols, guys. Katulad yun sa AACC, universal protocol yung sinabi ko sa iyo kanina. Okay? So in other words, huwag tayong magsasabi ng gano'n kasi wala naman silang kasalanan doon. Okay? So we have to maintain the respect that is so important. Random error is undeterminate error. Sulat mo. Also known as undeterminate error. Also known as, take note, unpredictable error. Take note of that. Random error is also known as unpredictable error, indeterminate error. Take note. Ma'am, ano bakit sila tinawag na indeterminate, unpredictable? Because these are usually variations in technique. That sometimes, nakalimutan natin, ay, kaya pala may error kasi para kasing common technique na siya. Paulit-ulit mo na siyang pina-perform. Minsan nagiging lax na tayo. Nakakalimutan natin na these are the sources of errors, the common techniques. Mislabeling, we cannot do anything about it. The phlebotomist is different from the staff working in the chemistry section. So here comes the phlebotomist, nilabel niya yung tube, Juan de la Cruz. Hindi pala kay Juan de la Cruz yun. Here comes the mislabeled sample, delivered to the chemistry section. Ano nakalagay doon sa request? Juan de la Cruz. Ano nakalagay sa label? Juan de la Cruz. Hindi na niya itatanong yung kung sa kanya yung sample na yun. Because it's same when you match it. Yung pala, hindi naman pala Juan de la Cruz dapat ang nakalabel doon. Pedro Santos. That's why it is indeterminate error. Unpredictable error. Pipetting error, especially manual. When you use the glass pipette or you use the automatic pipette, lalo na, para lagi-lagi mo na siya pina-perform, lagi-lagi mo nang ginagamit ang pipette, nagkamali pala tayo ng position ng glass pipette. No? This tip touched the accumulating fluid. That is an error. Air displacement. Make sure that the tip is locked. Talaga nakalock siya doon sa piston. Naku, loose yung tip. Air displacement. Pipetting error. Di mo alam. Unpredictable. Indeterminate. Improper mixing of sample and reagent. This is common for manual method, children. Naku, hindi kasi tayo nag-practical. Pagpunta mo ng hospital and you're going to perform manual method. Imagine this is your test tube. Oh, you put there your reagent. You transfer there your sample. Make sure before you mix, there must be a Nesco film. Di ba? Kasi na may lab manual mo, may Nesco film. Kaya di ba sabi ko sa iyo guys, babalikan mo ang lab manual mo. You read it when your heart is happy. Kasi bakit? Kailangan mo maalala yung procedure eh. So, ano nakalagay sa Nesco film? Ang sabi sa Nesco film, wrap the mouth of the tube with Nesco film. Make sure no holes, no scratches. Why? Para sealed yung iyong sample and reagent. Mix it with your Nesco film. Ma'am, walang Nesco film. Yung iyong tip ng index finger, ma'am, ang naging stopper. Naku. Sweat electrolytes. May sweat electrolytes ka dyan. May contaminants ka dyan. Random error. Bakit random? May Nesco film ko nga, hindi mo alam, meron palang hole touching your fingertip. Voltage, temperature fluctuations, okay? Well, it is impossible, guys, to determine, especially if the equipment has no indicator for voltage or temperature fluctuations. It's so difficult. That's why indeterminate error. Dirty optics. Optics, light sources. Ito ha, board exam. What is the most commonly used light source in spectrophotometry? The most commonly used light source in spectrophotometry, 10 seconds. Tungsten light bulb, excellent. Inyon mayan. That inyon or anion mayan, excellent. Split second, ang galing. Tungsten light bulb, very good, excellent. Oh, ma'am, bakit siya unpredictable? Guys, kung pag nasa practice ka na, hindi po araw-araw mayat-maya binubuksan mo yung chemistry analyzer mo just to check if the tungsten light bulb is dirty. You don't do that. That's why it is unpredictable error. And dirty optics will give you erroneous absorbance reading, which is unpredictable. Well, that's why we should perform repeat testing, twice done measurement. So what are the examples of unpredictable indeterminate error? Mislabeling up to dirty optics. The next question. Random error is an analytical error that influences quality control. Question. Which parameter is greatly influenced by random error? Which QC parameter is greatly influenced by random error? What is the answer? Random error influence precision. Write it. Random error influence precision or reproducibility. Excellent, Maria Julia Talia Haka. Excellent. She answered precision. Very good, excellent. Oops, question. Ma'am, you mean random error influence precision? Yes. That is the reason why random error is also known as imprecision. Do not forget that. It is also known as imprecision. Huwag kalilimutan. Ha? Next question. Always remember that analytical errors are confirmed using statistical calculations. Again, analytical errors are confirmed using statistical calculations. Question. Which statistical parameter should be utilized to confirm imprecision? What is the answer? Standard deviation. Write it, please. Standard deviation measures imprecision or random error. Standard deviation is the basic measure of imprecision. Do not forget that. That's why random error na pabasa mo yan sa bishop is imprecision. Random error influence reproducibility. Kaya sabi ko sa'yo, this is errors based on repeated measurements. Underline that, please. This is an error based on repeated measurements. Oh my God. Imprecision determined using standard deviation. Take note. How about systematic error? Oh, determinate error. Predictable error. Also known as determinate error, also known as predictable error. Bakit siya determinate? Because these are errors in one direction. Madali mo malaman, ay, ito pala yung error. No, errors in one direction. That is systematic error. Oops, example. Guys, alam mo naman kung improperly calibrated yung machine, guys, pag sinabing improper calibration of the equipment. Yun po ang kinakalibrate natin, yung equipment. Please complete the statement, guys. Improper calibration of the equipment. Baka paglutin sa board exam, A, improper calibration of the analyzer, B, improper calibration of the reagent. Hindi po tayo nagka-calibrate ng reagent. Ang kinakalibrate natin yung equipment. So, improper calibration of the equipment, madali pong malaman niya, nakita mo sa result, may print out. Ay, out of control ito. May problem sa machine. That's why systematic. What else? Deterioration of reagent. You use a reagent near expiration date. Tomorrow is the due date, expiration date. Ginamit mo pa ngayon, tomorrow expired na. Baka magkaroon ng systematic error. Or worse, you use an expired reagent. Tandaan sa board exam, when you use an expired reagent, binigyan ka ng situation, kahit ang haba-haba ng question, at the end of the question, the medical technologists use an expired reagent. What is that error? Kahit nakapikit ka, systematic error. Mawala po sa choices yung systematic error. Tignan mo nga kung merong predictable error. Mawala po sa choices yung predictable error. Tignan mo nga kung merong determinate error. Ay, okay. Next, contaminated solution, sample instability. Children, remember that bilirubin is a photosensitive analyte. Take note of that. Bilirubin is a photosensitive analyte. So what is the protocol in terms of sample collection? Children, imagine mo kung eto wala akong test tube dito. Eto, imagine mo test tube to, hypothetical test tube to children Test tube. Ang request, bilirubin measurement. Oh, what is the rule? You should use an amber test tube. When you say amber test tube, coated siya, usually orange-brown. Coated yung test tube, orange-brown na dyan, orange-brown. Nako, yun ang requirement natin sa photosensitive analyte. Next question. Ma'am, baka may situation sa boarding, so mula daw po kaming amber test tube. What is the next requirement? Make sure that you protect the sample, protect it, take note, against light exposure. How? You have to wrap this test tube with aluminum foil. Actually, aluminum foil ang ginagamit Minsan, ginagamit nila black paper. Carbon paper yun. Wrap it with aluminum foil or black paper to inhibit photo exposure. Take note to wrap in carbon paper, correct? Totoo yan. Carbon paper, siya yung black paper. Pag walang carbon paper, iba foil. But should be thick enough to inhibit photo exposure. Oops! When will you protect the sample against light exposure? When? Is it before sample collection? Is it during sample collection, meaning venipuncture? Or is it after sample collection? If it is capillary puncture, meron po tayong mga microtainers. Meron din po bang microtainer na amber ang kanyang entire plastic container? Yes, coated. Meron tayong microtainer na gano'n. Question, children, when is the proper time to protect the sample for bilirubin test against light exposure? Is it before sample, after sample collection, or is it within? Oh, it should be before sample collection. The answer should be before. Robia, Remy, Jane, V. Excellent. Ay guys, halimbawa, imagine mo may patient na nakahiga dito sa harap ko. May fluorescent lamp yung room, fluorescent lamp. O di nagko-collect ka ng sample. O di na-expose na yung blood sample mo. That's why it should be before sample collection. That's why we're using amber test tube, amber-coated tubes. Before sample collection yun. Wala ka nun. O di nagkagamit tayo ng carbon paper, the black paper. Wala pa rin nun. Pwedeng aluminum foil, but should be thick enough to protect the sample against light. When you expose the sample to direct light, and that is for photosensitive, and that is for bilirubin or any other photosensitive analyte measurement, that is systematic error. Bakit? Alam mo, in-expose mo sa light. That is predictable error. Unstable reagent blank, leaky ion selective electrode. What is ISE? Ion selective electrode is an instrument for measurement of electrolytes. Diminishing lamp power. Ma'am, how would I know that the tungsten light bulb is no longer functioning? Yung result mo, makikita mo sa result mo minsan, error. O kaya kung hindi error, sobrang taas. 1,000 mg per deciliter? FBS? Buhay pa naman yung patient. Baka naman meron kang diminishing lamp power. Or it was so low, 10 mg per deciliter. Pero buhay pa yung pasyente. Probably diminishing lamp power, either extremely high or extremely low. Take note. Next question. Mom, what QC parameters influenced by systematic error? Accuracy. Systematic error greatly influences accuracy, which is another QC parameter. That is the reason why systematic error is also known as inaccuracy. It is also known as inaccuracy. Si random error, imprecision. Random error is determined by standard deviation. How about systematic error? Oh my goodness gracious. If you want to confirm systematic error, we should compute for excellent Teisel John Fernandez. Compute for the mean value. Because mean is a measure of systematic error. And mean value is also a measure of what? Inaccuracy. Random, standard deviation. Imprecision, standard deviation. What else? Poorly written procedure, impracticability. Ano ibig sabihin ng poorly written procedure? Impracticability. That is poorly written procedure. Another example of systematic error. And ito guys, in your book, this is on page 7, baka tanungin ka, ito kahit hindi ko na ito sabihin, pero sige pa rin, sasabihin ko pa rin para relax ka sa exam, no? What are the examples of pre-analytical errors? Different ito sa systematic, different ito sa random, okay? Pre-analytical errors, ay syempre, improper filling of the sample tube. There's lalo na ang, coagulation test, the light blue top, di ba? Incorrect sample tube, incorrect test, incorrect biomarker, incorrect patient ID. Incorrect patient preparation, mislabeled specimen, incorrect order of draw. Yan ang tanong ng bayan. Ma'am, may binago po ba sa order of draw ngayong new curriculum? Tignan natin. We will go that when pagdating natin sa patient prep. Yan ang, sample collection. Discussion natin yan. Incorrect blood to anticoagulant ratio. Question, guys. Pag narinig mo ang incorrect blood to anticoagulant ratio, I'm sure your first reaction will be, Ma'am, that is for hematology, ma'am. That is for coagulation test, ma'am. The 9:1 ratio, ma'am, for coagulation test of the blood and the anticoagulant. Tama iyon. Question, children. How about in clinical chemistry? What is the test so particular with blood to anticoagulant ratio? That incorrect blood to anticoagulant ratio will give you false results. Naku po, syempre isipin mo, Ma'am, di ba pag clinical chemistry, most of the time we use serum? So, yung iisipin mo, what are those tests which require whole blood or plasma? That incorrect to blood to anticoagulant ratio, incorrect blood to anticoagulant ratio, false result. Hindi ako magbibigay ng choices, ha. Gusto ko maisip mo pala ngayon as early as, may sagot si Razo Joaneta. Okay, may answer siya, pero hindi ko muna sasabihin kung tama yung answer ni Miss Joaneta. Pero remember, ang nasa iisip, ano ba yung mga test sa chemistry na may anticoagulant? Narong anticoagulant to blood ratio. Yung sagot ni Maria Loren, the answer of Maria Loren, actually, she has actually two answers. Yung isa dyan tama, Maria Loren. I will not also tell you what was the answer of Maria Loren kasi dapat maisip mo siya. Pero as promised, pagdating natin sa discussion na yan, sa topic yan, i-remind kita, children, yan yung pinag-usapan natin sa quality control. That incorrect blood to anticoagulant ratio will give you erroneous result. Huwag nating karilimutan. May sagot din si Carlos Katrina. The answer of Carlos Katrina, excellent. That is the correct answer. Walang sasabihin, ano ba itsura ni Carlos Katrina? Okay. Huwag mo sasabihin, Carlos, yung answer mo. Secret yan. So take note. Improper mixing of the blood and anticoagulant, of course, that will give you erroneous result. And what are the analytical errors? Incorrect volume of specimen and reagent, improper incubation and timing during measurement. What are the post-analytical errors? Naku po, Diyos ko, lagi nagagalit sa atin din ang doctors, children, di ba? Delayed lab result is a post-analytical error. Kaya di ba pag delayed tayo nag-release ng result, ano sasabi ng doctor? That is an error. Sabi naman natin medical technologists, na-late lang, error na. Because that is a post-analytical error. Long turnaround time. SARS-CoV-2 testing, 3 days ang turnaround time. Diyos ko, Lord, baka kinuha na ni Lord yung patient. Okay, so we should have, kumbaga, short turnaround time. Okay, what else? And wrong transcription of patient's data and lab results ay talagang, that is post-analytical error. Ma'am, wrong transcription. Ako, doon sa mga laboratory na sulat kamay, bawal. Actually, hindi naman bawal, but, handwritten results have many errors. Okay, that's one of the post-analytical errors. What else? Missing lab result. That is non-contestable, okay? Post-analytical error. What else? And, well, the online computer input is the most error-free means of requesting laboratory tests. That is under page 7. NTR is notes to remember. Okay, that is notes to remember. Take note. Nandyan yan sa book. Don't worry. What are the most common causes of quality control alert? Wala to sa book mo. Take a photo, please. QC material has deteriorated. Mishandled after opening or reconstituting the quality control sample, and analyte stability less than desired. Take a photo, please. This is according to CDC. What are the most common causes of quality control alert? Hindi ako magtataka, guys, kung itatanong sa board exam niya, quality control alert, kasi uso-uso yung terminology na yan. Okay, take note, ha? So in other words, when you summarize the random and systematic errors, take note, children, when we summarize the random and systematic errors, what are the most common quality control alerts? Silang tatlo. Take note. Ops, to be specific. When you say QC material has deteriorated, is it random or systematic error? Is it random or systematic error? QC material has deteriorated. Is it random or systematic error? Systematic. Mishandling the control sample or quality control material after opening or reconstituting. Is it random or systematic error? Yung number 2, that is another, number 2 is also what? Systematic error. Next, analyte stability less than desired. Naku, kasasabi ko lang kanina. Random or systematic error. What is the answer there? That is a systematic error. So in other words, the QC alerts are what? Systematic errors. Inaccuracy, predictable error, determinate error. What else? And how about notes to remember for page 6? What is the first step in method evaluation? To summarize it, pag sinabi natin first step, may bago dumating na machine, may bago dumating na reagent, o ano daw una natin gagawin? What is the first step in method evaluation? Tandaan natin, what are the components of an analytical method? Reagent, equipment, procedure. Precision study. Di ba? Anong ibig sabihin ng precision study? You have to use control samples as the sample, and you are going to challenge the new machine and the new reagent, new instrument with the control sample for 20 consecutive days. Twice running each sample every day. How do we call that? Precision study. Repeated measurement. To study in precision, pabaliktad naman ito guys, may ma-encounter kang ganyan tanong sa board exam. Ma'am, bakit parang biniligtad lang po yung question? Tama. To study in precision or random error. Precision study pa din. Ano pa rin? How will you determine random errors? What are the steps in confirming random errors? Ano nakalagay dito? Well, we have to have 2 levels of control. Paulit-ulit na akong sasabi, run twice a day. Run twice a day, duplicate testing. How many days? At least 20 consecutive days. Ma'am, bakit nakalagay dyan sa PowerPoint mo, ma'am? 10 to 20 days. Guys, eto lang ako ha. If ever, sa board exam mo ngayong 2022, August, nakita mo sa choices, binigyan ka ng situation. There is a new instrument, there is a new reagent, there is a new analytical method. It should be challenged using control samples because it resembles human samples. For 20 consecutive days, wala kang nakitang 20. Ang nakita mo, 10, 30, 40, 100 days. Anong answer? 10 days. Because according to CLSI, if that is an emergency case, then we may consider 10 consecutive days. Lalo na ngayon guys, sa pandemic tayo. However, the ideal is at least 20 consecutive days. But for emergency cases, 10 consecutive days, acceptable. But the ideal again, at least 20 consecutive days. Huwag kalimutan. Next, may computation sa board exam? Meron. Lalo na ngayon, bagong examiners natin, guys, ha? Baka meron silang medyo more than 3 computations. Okay, we don't know. We will be praying for that. Page 8. Well, statistics is the science of gathering, analyzing, interpreting, and presenting data. I'm sure you will ask this question. Ma'am, ibig sabihin po, we will be required to bring a calculator. Check. Requirement po ng medical technology, Board of Medical Technology, guys. The Board of Medical Technology, it has been a requirement for many years, no? Immemorial na, that magdadala ka talaga ng calculator. Scientific calculator. Children ha, meron pong specifications yun ha. Hindi po tayo pwedeng bumili ng scientific calculator basta-basta. We have to check the PRC. And what is the first statistical computation? Mean is a measure of central tendency. Always remember that. It is a measure of central tendency. Take note. It is also known as an averaged value. Or it is also known as, it is also known as averaged value. Walang an. It is also known as averaged value. Averaged value. And it is computed by taking the summation of all the values. That is the E, summation. Summation of all the values, X, these are values, over N, number of values. Kaya pag sinabi mong mean, central tendency. Central value, average value. Standard deviation, oh my goodness gracious, is computed by getting the summation of X minus mean squared N minus 1. X minus mean squared N minus 1. That is SD. And standard deviation, always remember, is a measure of the dispersion of values. It is a measure of the dispersion of values. Do not forget that. It is a measure of the dispersion of values. Huwag kalilimutan. What else? And when you say dispersion of values, next question. So therefore, SD is a measure of what? Precision. Since standard deviation is a measure of the dispersion of values, then standard deviation is also a measure of precision. Next question. What is the relationship of precision and standard deviation? Children, clinical chemistry po ito ha. Mahilig po ang clinical chemistry professors sa correlational question. Pagdating po kasi natin sa board exam, correlational question din, whether it is local board or international certification exam, you will be experiencing correlational question. Take note of that. So therefore, what is the relationship of precision and standard deviation? What is the answer? Inversely related. Take note, inversely related. It is inversely related. At what level? The higher the SD value, it means values are dispersed. Higher SD value means values are dispersed. They are not close to each other. And it means lower precision. If the SD value is higher, the interpretation is what? Means presence of dispersed values. Values which are not close to each other. So it means what? Lower precision. However, lower SD value means what? Closer values. The values are closer to each other. So lower SD value means the values are closer to each other. And when values are closer, it means higher precision. When values are closer, assayed values are closer, it means higher precision. Next question. Ang sasagutin ko na din, ma'am, ano ibig sabihin ng high SD value? Ano pong ibig sabihin ng low SD value? Children, what is the ideal SD value? Ilang beses tinanong yan sa quiz nung third year and fourth year ka. Kakasigurado ako dyan. Even in your statistic subject, what is the ideal standard deviation value, specifically in quality control? What is the ideal SD value? What is the answer? Carlos, Katrina, excellent. 2SD. 2SD and 2. Eksakto lang guys sa 2 standard deviation. That is the ideal SD value. Therefore, if the SD value is greater than 2SD, higher than 2SD, oh, the values are dispersed. And it means lower precision. However, if the SD value is lower than 2S, oh, the values are closer, less dispersed, and it means higher precision. Kaya sinabi ko kanina guys that SD is what? Inversely proportional to precision. And SD is a measure of dispersion. And SD is inversely proportional to precision. Take note of that. Coefficient of variation is SM. Ang tawag ko dyan, guys, SM. Bakit SM? Standard deviation, S, over mean, M, times 100, the answer should always be what? In percent. This is percentage of variation, percentage of analytical errors. Okay? Take note. The coefficient of variation, do not forget, is expressed in percent. Kung merong isang computation na pwedeng itanong sa iyo sa board exam, na isahan na lang, CV. Bakit? Kailangan mo ng mean, kailangan mo ng standard deviation. Kaya, kahit ako din, children, nasa shoes ng ating board of examiner, CV din ang aking itatanong. Bakit? May mean na, may SD pa. Take note SM yan times 100. And remember that the coefficient of variation is a very this CV is also known as the percentile expression of the mean. Also known as the percentile expression of the mean. Variation is error. Take note of that. Variation is that is another word for error. Variation is another word for error. And remember that CV is expressed in percent. So, anong tawag mo sa CV also? CV is also known as total percent error. It is also known as total percent error. Bakit siya naging error? Because variation is error. Bakit percent? Because it is expressed in percent. What is variance? The square of dispersion. Bakit ko sinabing square of dispersion? Because this is the square of standard deviation. And standard deviation is a measure of dispersion. Variance detects significant differences between groups of data. Take note of that. It actually detects significant differences between groups of data. That is variance. What else? Guys, baka makakalimutan mo lang Which of the choices, 1 to 4, is a measure of reproducibility? Walang magbubuklat ng notes. Walang titingin sa notes. 10 seconds. Kung board exam ngayon, which of these choices, 1 to 4, is a measure of reproducibility? What is the first answer? Number 2, standard deviation. What is the second answer? Oh, what is the second answer? CV. Bakit CV? Because CV is also defined as an index of precision. So there are 2 answers. Pag ang tinanong sa children, which of the following choices is a measure of precision? What is the first answer? Because that's the basic measure of precision. Standard deviation. Because it is a measure of dispersion. Do not forget that. Ano pa ang second? The coefficient of variation. Take note of that. That is also a measure of what? Also a measure of dispersion. Kaya ang tawag natin sa SD and CV, measures of precision. True or false? Variance may also be considered as a measure of precision. True or false? Ang variance ba pwede mo rin i-consider na measure of precision? What is the answer? True. Excellent. Kaisel John Fernandez and Ray Mark Magleo and Christine Briñas. Excellent. Yes, because this is the square of standard deviation. Pero anong first answer mo? CV. I'm sorry, sir. What is your first answer? SD. What is the second answer? CV. What is the third answer? Variance. Ma'am, sa board exam, wala akong nakita kundi SD lang. Then SD is the answer. Ma'am, wala akong iba nakita kundi CV lang. Then CV is the answer. Ma'am, wala ibang choices kundi variance. Then variance is the answer. Ma'am, paano ko papasama si SD at saka si CV? Tingnan mo yung choices. Is it Morse type? Ma'am, hindi po Morse type. Nakalagay A, B, C, D. Children, halimbawa pinagsama si SD at saka si CV. Ang tanong sa'yo, which of the following choices measures the precision of an analytical method? Naku. The precision of an analytical method. Is it SD Is it CV? The precision of an analytical method, naku, nakalagay yan sa book mo. Pag ang tinatanong na yung precision ng analytical method, oh, the answer should be what? Coefficient of variation. CV is the right answer. It's in your book. Mom, hindi ko siya nakita. Mamaya makikita mo. Standard deviation index, page 8, baka lang makalimutan mo guys ha, is the difference between the value of a data point and the mean. It's in your book already. Ops, and it is utilized for proficiency testing. Nawala lang yung testing guys. Very important yan. Guys, pag tinanong sa board exam, what is that statistical parameter that is used in external QC testing? What is the answer? Standard deviation index. Oh my goodness gracious. What else? And nandiyan pala, that is used for the proficiency testing or standardization of laboratories. Naku, guys, do not forget that. Oh, what is the other name of SDI? Z-score. It is also known as the Z-score. Pag wala sa book ang Z-score, kindly write it. Page 8 yan, guys. It is also known as the Z-score. Nandiyan na yan, guys. I think i-add mo na lang dyan Z-score. What else? Ano pa tatandaan natin, children? Okay, it is in your book, page 8. Do not forget that people, that is so important. What else, guys? How about notes to remember, page 9. O, nasa book mo yan, guys, ha? Ayan yung sinasabi ko kanina. The CV of analyzers described as having reproducible test results can be lower than 1%. Less than 1%. Ma'am, kaya pala sinabi mo, what is that particular set parameter that measures the precision of an assay? It is CV. Correct. Next, CV determines the precision of an analytical method or assay. Oh my God, that is so important. Tricky yan sa board exam, guys, CV. Because CV, you have the mean already. Kailangan mo ng mean value, kailangan mo ng SD value. You put them together. Ma'am, bakit si CV? Because CV contains the SD. It has also the mean value, the measure of central tendency. That's why, what is the answer? CV. Ay, kaya pala, ma'am, if you would like to determine random error, you need SD. We want to determine systematic error, we need mean. That's why it is the CV. Tumpak, SM. Take note. What else, guys? It is found on page 9. What else? And notes to remember, page 9 again. What is the purpose of stat analysis? Bakit do kailangan may SD, may CV, may mean, may variance? Especially, guys, ito huwag mong kakalimutan, of the 4 statistical parameters, isama mo pa sa SDI, 5 sila. Children, which of the 5 are considered very important stat parameters in quality control? Very important. Mean and SD. Take note of the 5. Ma'am, meron ako nakita sa book T-test, o edi 6 na. Ma'am, meron ako nakita sa book F-test, o edi 7 na. Meron nakita ako sa book na median mode, o di gawin mo ng 9. Of the 9 statistical parameters, kompletuin na natin. Which of those is so important in quality control? Oh, there are 2. Mean and SD. Very important in quality control, guys. So therefore, what is the purpose of the stat analysis? To determine the types and quantity of error that a method has. Oh, ma'am, ibig mo po sabihin, by computing the mean and standard deviation, we would be able to determine if that is a random error, if that is a systematic error, kasi nakalagay din, types and quantity of error. Aha. Ma'am, pag kinumpute namin yung mean and SD, malalaman na namin kung random or systematic or both. Truly. Mamaya makikita mo yan ng bonggang-bongga kung bakit. Ano pa nakalagay, children? To decide whether the test is still valid or unacceptable to medical decisions. Oops, babalikan kita ulit. What are the 2 important quality statistical computations that will tell you and me that that test is still valid, that test is unacceptable to make clinical decision? Naku, may sinabi ako si kanina. Ano yung dalawa na yun? Mean and SD. Mom, are you telling us that mean and SD can tell you the type of error? Check. The quantity of error? Check. Will tell you if the test, FBS, glucose, triglycerides, sodium, electrolytes, enzymes, everything is valid test, is a valid test? Check. Will also tell you if it is unacceptable? Check. We just need to compute the mean and SD. Tama. Paano nangyari yun, ma'am? O, eto na. Eto na para happy ka. Mama, tandaan mo tong last slide na to, ha? Lagyan mo ng check-check yan sa book mo. Nako, very important the explanation na yan. Para maintindihan mo yung quality control chart. Quality control chart, what is the purpose of the QC chart in clinical chemistry? Ano bang purpose ng quality control chart? The purpose of the quality control chart, number 1, to visualize if there is accuracy and precision in the clinical chemistry section. To observe every day, to see every day, to monitor every day on a daily basis, ibig sabihin, accuracy and precision in the clinical chemistry section. Ma'am, ibig mong sabihin, we have to read and monitor and check every day the quality control chart. Dapat tatanungin mo ako, anong sagot ko doon? Next reason. Ma'am, what is the purpose of the quality control chart in clinical chemistry? To also monitor on a daily basis, to check every day if there are analytical errors. Take note. To check every day if there are analytical errors. Ma'am, ibig mong sabihin, ma'am, tignan lang namin yung quality control chart. Alam na namin kung may random error. Check. Alam na po namin kung may systematic errors. Check. O, eto pa. Alam ko gusto mo itong tanongin sa akin. Ma'am, ito pong board exam namin ngayong August 2022, may picture. Nako, matagal ko na itong sinasabi, guys. Matagal na. Time will come that your board examination test papers will have will actually contain illustrations. Huwag ka pong magugulat kung yung board exam mo po ngayong August 2022, makakakita ka ng drawing o picture sa iyong test paper. Siyempre, tatanungin mo ako, Dr. Rodriguez, ano po makikita namin illustration sa clinical chemistry? And these are all numbers. Oh, the quality control chart. And you will be asked to interpret it. Second, electrophoretic pattern. Guys, matagal ko na po. Lahat po kaming professors ng clinical chemistry, ang tagal na namin tinuturo ang electrophoresis. Wala pang pandemic. Matagal na, guys. Pumuti na ang buhok ko dyan. Medyo brown lang ngayon. Siyempre, nag-rather ng color. Okay? Matagal. Ma, why are you emphasizing the electrophoresis? Children, because molecular biology and diagnostics include electrophoretic patterns. Take note of that. So therefore, ano ilalagay mo sa iyong, di ba sabi ko ang mind setting mo sa heart? You're going to, what are your expectations? Para hindi ka ma-frustrate sa ating board exam. You expect that in clinical chemistry or microbiology or hematology or every subject with illustrations. Hindi po yun katakataka. In fact, you are a visual learner, you are a virtual learner, you will appreciate greatly if there are illustrations. So ano ilalagay mo sa mindset? There are quality control charts. Oops, what is the purpose? To monitor every day if there is accuracy and precision. What is the second purpose? To monitor also if there are analytical errors. And what are these analytical errors? Inaccuracy and imprecision. What do you mean by inaccuracy or imprecision? Inaccuracy is systematic error. Imprecision is what? That is random error. Huwag kalilimutan. Next question. Technically speaking, ano po ang ginagamit nating paper? What is the special paper? Hard paper. Okay? That is used so that we can draw all the quality control charts Histogram. Oops! Ano ang common name ng histogram? Baka itanong sa'yo yan sa board exam. Histogram, that is a material in quality control that you have to check on a daily basis. Tandaan mo guys, ang histogram po ay pwedeng hard copy, pwedeng naka-incorporate sa chemistry analyzer or in hematology or in immunology. What is the common name of histogram? Histogram in clinical chemistry is better known as graphing paper. I said in clinical chemistry, it is graphing paper. Kaya pag binasa mo si Bishop, ano nakalagay doon? You have to draw the quality control chart on a histogram. Di ba isipin mo, paano ka magdodrawing sa histogram? Because that is graphing paper. So ang tanong, ma'am, you mean all clinical chemistry machines, all clinical chemistry analyzers, fully automated clinical chemistry analyzers with embedded, with incorporated histograms? Correct. Next question, what is the most commonly used quality control chart? Printed on histogram. Ma'am, hindi ko po nakita, wala po akong internship. Naku, kahit wala kang internship, tinuro sa'yo yan, guys. Take note ha, maraming theoretical questions ngayong board exam. Merong practical questions, pero maraming theoretical questions. Even pre-pandemic, maraming theoretical questions din. Kaya lang ngayon, medyo baka mag-higher pa siya. Ma'am, walang practical questions. Clinical chemistry is always with practical. Bacteriology is always with practical. Lahat pa rin may practical questions. Kaya lang yung the way it was asked, theoretical. Oops! What is the most commonly used quality control chart? Excellent. Rezo, Joanette, and Maria Loren, and Christine Brinas, and Christian Joshua Tabunot, and Inyon May Ann. Their answers were all excellent. Levy-Jennings chart. That is the most commonly used quality control chart. Ma'am, ina-expect ko, it should be part of my expectations that baka may Levy-Jennings chart sa board exam ko sa August naman. Question, ano bang picture na to, Levy-Jennings chart? No. This is what? Gaussian curve. That is your bell-shaped curve. Oh, ang shape niya bell. So how do we call that bell-shaped curve? Gaussian curve. Mom, bakit siya naging bell-shaped? Ay, syempre, aalamin natin. Children, my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. What are the two very important statistical parameters that should be part of every Gaussian curve? Otherwise, wala kang bell shape. What are those two very important statistical calculations that will help you guys reach that perfect bell shape? What is the answer? Miss, ano ba talaga? Hindi ako makaimik, ano? Kabubas Castillo de la Cruz Martinez. Apat sila sa isang laptop. Amazing. This is amazing. Wait, Miss Kabubas, Miss Castillo, sa picture parang Miss lahat. De la Cruz or baka may gentleman Martinez. Naiintindihan yung lecture ko. Apat kayo sa isang laptop. Curious ako. This is so... May direct message sa akin dito. Opo, ma'am. Yan ang sinasabi ko, guys. Kaya naiiyak ako sa online eh. O children ha, meron kayong Zoom mates dito, isang laptop, apat sila. Ikaw, isa ka lang sa laptop mo. So yung ikaw na isa ka lang sa laptop, top 1 ka. Yung apat sila, top 2 lahat sila. Dahil isa ka, isang laptop, oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Kung nakikinig ang parents ngayon, dapat top 1 ka sa board exam. Kapag etong apat na to ang nag-top 1 sa board exam, silang apat against you and me na isa lang ang ating laptop, isa rin tayo sa laptop, amazing. Amen. Tumahimik ang Zoom. Oh my God, apat sila, ako isa lang. Bakit ganun ang buhay? Kaya natin to. So going back,